So on First Talk earlier today, the panel opened with the latest buzz around the Lakers. And believe me, this one's heating up. As we all keep waiting, some of us more patiently than others, for LA's next big move, the insiders are reporting a clear direction. The Lakers are aggressively working the phones, hunting for a wing who brings serious defensive toughness. According to both Brett Siegel over at Clutch Points and Dave McMenamin of ESPN, the front office is in full swing, targeting defensive-minded wing. Brett even went on record saying he expects a deal to get done before the month closes. So naturally, the question now is, who are they actually looking at? What type of player fits the mold? And is this even the right move for LA? The crew broke it all down. Starting with McMenamin's latest intel, he confirmed that the Lakers have indeed had trade discussions with Miami around Andrew Wiggins. Yep, Wiggins. That lines up with some earlier chatter from other reports too. But here's the thing, they're only considering the move if the price is right. That's key. And that leads us into the next checkpoint, Shake Milton. According to McMenamin, the next domino in the Lakers' off-season plan revolves around Milton's contract guarantee date, which hits on July 20th. If you're not familiar, Milton's deal is only partially guaranteed until that date. So what LA decides there, whether they keep him or waive him, could open up options. Now, one of the analysts on First Talk made a great point. While Shake Milton's a serviceable backup guard, he doesn't exactly move the needle for LA. He's not a standout defender, not elite from three, and just doesn't offer the type of impact the Lakers seem to be prioritizing right now. So the belief among the panel was that Milton's likely gone, not a matter of if, but when. And once that move happens, it opens the door for LA to either absorb an extra player in a trade or clear cap space for a new free agent signing. That brings us back to Brett Siegel's report. He mentioned the Lakers are highly active in trade conversations for that elusive two-way wing. One interesting nugget, he floated the Portland Trail Blazers as a possible trade partner, mainly because of the connection between Rob Pelinka and Joe Cronin, Portland's GM. Now, let's pause here. Historically, the Lakers and Blazers haven't done much business. Only 2 trades between them in league history, with the last one way back in 1980. But if the front offices genuinely have a strong rapport, as Siegel suggests, it could lay the foundation for something. That actually led to another great comparison one of the First Talk analysts brought up. The Luka Doncic trade. That deal happened largely thanks to Pelinka's relationship with Dallas GM Nico Harrison. So we can't rule out a repeat scenario here, even if history between the Lakers and Blazers is thin. So if Portland really is a potential trade partner, who might be on the table? That's where the name Matisse Thybulle comes up. Anthony Irwin of Clutch Points has floated his name as a potential Lakers target too, and it actually makes a lot of sense. The Lakers need someone who can defend at a high level, and that's literally what Thybulle is built for. One of the hosts pointed out that yes, Thybulle's coming off a rough year, just 15 games played due to ankle and knee issues. But prior to that, he was the picture of durability, consistently logging 65-plus games a season even during the shortened COVID year. So this might have just been an outlier. And when healthy, Thybulle is a defensive force. Lockdown perimeter guy, elite lateral quickness, can guard 1 through 3, sometimes even switch on to 4. And let's be real, that's exactly what the Lakers are starving for right now. Developing that offensive skill set little by little, but let's be honest, what keeps Matisse Thybulle in the league is his defense. And that's where First Talk focused. His instincts in the passing lanes, top tier. He's averaging over 1.5 steals per game throughout his career, and that's in limited minutes too. If you stretch that out per 36, he's pushing 2 steals a night. That's elite defensive playmaking, but it's not just about the steal. One of the panelists highlighted how disciplined he is in one-on-one situations. Thybulle isn't just a gambler, he's someone who can actually take on the toughest perimeter assignment night after night. Whether that's a shifty point guard, a volume shooting 2, or even a physical small forward. And if he's healthy, he's a plug-and-play defender in almost any lineup. Now, of course, the elephant in the room is the injury. Just 15 games played last season, which obviously raises some concern. But the hosts pointed out this was an anomaly. Until then, he'd been incredibly durable, consistently logging over 65 games a year. So this may have just been a one-off season. And ironically, that could play in the Lakers' favor. With Thybulle on an expiring $11.5 million deal and coming off a down year, the price tag in trade talks could be much lower than usual. The guys on First Talk speculated it might only take someone like Gabe Vincent and a future second-round pick to get it done. Maybe even less. Portland is trending younger, and Thybulle doesn't appear to be part of their long-term rotation anymore. They've got Denny Avdija now. They're trying to elevate young wings like Chris Murray and Toumani Camara, and they're still carrying that massive contract from Jeremy Grant. The Trailblazers are clearly rebuilding, and Thybulle just doesn't fit where they're headed. But here's the part the show dug into. Beyond the defense, Thybulle has shown subtle offensive growth. He's not going to light it up from deep, but he has quietly become a league-average three-point shooter. In fact, from the start of the 2022-23 season through last year, he's hit over 36% from beyond the arc. Not bad at all, especially considering most of those attempts come from the corners, where he's shooting nearly 38%. The panel made a great point here. Imagine Thybulle in a lineup alongside top-tier creators like LeBron James, Austin Reeves, and Luka Doncic. That kind of elite playmaking would make life easier for a guy like Thybulle. In Portland, he was often stuck in no man's land offensively, but in LA, he'd be getting wide-open catch-and-shoot looks on the regular. Now, nobody's saying he's suddenly going to shoot 40% on high volume, but realistically, if he can give you a steady 35% from deep while continuing to be a pest on defense, that's a perfect low-cost, high-upside role player. So the verdict from First Talk was clear. While Thybulle might not be the flashiest name out there, he's one of the most realistic targets for what the Lakers are trying to do. He fits the need for a defensive-minded wing. He matches the timeline of a team still building around Luka's prime, and he won't cost an arm and a leg to acquire. But just in case a deal for Thybulle doesn't materialize, the panel asked, is there anyone else on Portland's roster that might interest the Lakers? There was a pause there because, honestly, the options are slim. Sure, there's been some past talk about Jeremy Grant, but that conversation died quickly. Nobody on the panel was interested in that contract, especially with Grant on the decline, and never really being a committed defender to begin with. And while someone floated Drew Holiday's name for a second, he's already 35 and on a hefty deal. As one analyst put it, it's just not the kind of contract the Lakers should be targeting right now, especially not for a team still juggling its cap around LeBron and Luka. So, if it's not Thybulle, it's hard to see Portland offering much else. But for now, the Lakers have a legitimate shot at landing a low-cost, high-impact defender in Thybulle. And that, according to First Talk, might be the smart play before this month wraps up. Now, to close things out, the panel turned their attention briefly to Robert Williams. There was a short discussion about whether the Lakers might kick the tires on him as a potential backup center. And on paper, sure, his rim protection, mobility, and defensive instincts check a lot of boxes. But when the hosts looked deeper, it became clear that Rob just doesn't make a ton of sense for this roster right now. Jackson Hayes already fills that bench big man role, and more importantly, Williams' availability has been a serious issue. He's averaged just 33 games a year. That's barely half a season. So even giving up a low-end asset like Gabe Vincent or KBA and a second-rounder, that might still be too steep for someone with that kind of medical history. With that, the focus shifted back to Andrew Wiggins. The First Talk crew mentioned that Dave McMenamin brought up the Lakers' previous trade talks, reportedly connecting with Miami during draft night to explore a potential Wiggins deal. But, as has been echoed many times, it would only happen at the right price. And that's where things got interesting. Multiple voices on the show broke down what that right price might look like. One scenario floating around was Rui Hachimura plus Dalton Knecht, and the Lakers' only tradable first-round pick. And to be honest, That drew some strong reactions, mostly no's across the board. Wiggins is a quality player. If he's healthy and locked in, he's one of the best 3-and-D wings in the league. Someone who can guard 1 through 4, knock down open threes, and serve as a secondary or even tertiary scorer. That's exactly the prototype the Lakers are hunting. But the price tag is a sticking point. The panelists weren't denying his talent. They acknowledged that at his peak, Wiggins was pivotal for Golden State's 2022 title run. But at 30 years old, there's a real debate about whether he's entering the tail end of his prime. Add in the fact that he's owed over $30 million this season, and more after that, and it gets complicated. He's not on a bad contract like Jeremy Grant, but he's not exactly a bargain either. If he returns to peak form, then, yeah, maybe he's worth that salary. But right now, it's a gamble. And for the Lakers to give up their most valuable assets for that kind of risk just didn't sit right with the panel. So unless that asking price comes down, say, Wiggins in exchange for an expiring contract, and either Hachimura or Necht, not both, then it's a no-go. But if Golden State lowers the demand, there could still be a path forward. That's why, as the discussion wrapped up, the analysts circled back to the name that's been gaining traction, Matisse Thybulle. He might not be the most exciting name, he's not as offensively gifted as Wiggins, but in terms of what the Lakers actually need, a defensive-minded wing, someone who can take on tough assignments, and a guy who's easier to acquire. Thybulle fits the bill. He'd be more affordable, more attainable, and still fills a hole on the depth chart, whether as a rotation piece or spot starter. Maybe he doesn't move the needle in the same way as Wiggins would if he's locked in, but he gives you something, and he doesn't cost your future to get it. So that's where the first talk panel landed. The Lakers are absolutely active in the trade market, with their eyes clearly set on fixing their perimeter defense. They're exploring their options, some bigger swings, some more realistic. But all signs suggest something is coming. Now it's just a matter of whether it's Wiggins at a discount or Thybulle at a bargain. And with that, the show wrapped up by asking the audience, what do you think? Should the Lakers hold firm on their assets and wait for the perfect opportunity? Or should they make a move now to shore up the roster ahead of training camp? That's it for this breakdown. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss the next time we dive into the Lakers' front office chessboard. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time on First Talk.